It's the budget tomorrow. But it's all going to be fine. It's all going to be OK, because actually what Jeremy Hunt's going to make sure is that less money gets spent on hiring diversity and inclusion officers. But I ask GB News' reporter Adam Cherry, haven't we heard all of this before?
We certainly have, Nigel. So, yes, today in the BBC News today we see Jeremy Hunt's going to force councils to cut back on this sort of spending. We had this very similar thing in the Telegraph on Saturday.
And that's because the councils keep asking for more money as several go bust around the country.
Exactly, right, exactly. But, I mean, I personally have covered this hobby horse of the Tories before many, many times. We hear this practically every time there's an autumn statement or a budget. So just to give you a brief précis of this. So on the 29th of October last year, which was just before the autumn statement, we had in the Telegraph, Jeremy Hunt has told government departments to lay off diversity managers if they want to bring in more staff. Total hiring freeze across Whitehall. Previously, we had in the Standard a letter from the then Health Secretary Steve Barclay saying he was concerned that many local NHS organisations are actively recruiting into dedicated diversity roles. Similarly, at the Tory party conference, again, we see the same sort of movements from Jeremy Hunt. So he said a lot about this in just the last 6 months. If you go back a little bit further, he's not the first person from the Tory party under whom this entire problem has spawned and become significantly worse. He's not the first person to claim that they will address it. So here we have, in January, we also had Guido Fawkes reporting a similar thing, but in June of 2022, which was when Sajid Javid was the Health Secretary at the time, seems like a long time ago, but this is what he said to the House of Commons when he was still the Health Secretary. So take a look at this.
This doesn't mean more people working in diversity, but fewer. In my view, there are already too many of these roles, and at a time when our constituents are facing some real pressures around the cost of living, we must spend every penny with care. Instead of farming out important work to a specific group of managers, it must be seen as everyone's responsibility, with everyone accountable for extending fairness and equal opportunities at work.
So there you have it, a clear intention to make this better, at least at the time. That was June 2022. Yeah. We're now in March 2024. It actually goes back even further than that. It goes all the way back to 2009 when this started, this industry, if you like. So in 2009, we have a Daily Mail article, anger after civil servants sent to lavish £2,000 retreat for, quote, irrelevant diversity training. So this sounds familiar. It's exactly the sort of thing that Jeremy Hunt talks about nowadays. And here we have Shadow Cabinet Office Minister Nick Hurd, who was a Conservative MP at the time, attacking the then Labour government for doing exactly the same thing. At a time when millions face losing their jobs and government debt is at record levels, do Labour ministers really think that sending civil servants on 5-day diversity courses at a luxury hotel costing almost £2,000 a pop is prudent and the right thing to do? So we've heard this for years and years and years and years.
So we're going to get this statement tomorrow in the House of Commons from Jeremy Hunt, yet at the same time there are still jobs advertised everywhere. Yeah.
In fact, if you go onto the NHS website right now, as of 5 minutes ago, I just checked, we have 5 new diversity jobs here. So we have one diversity and inclusion lead at a hospice, equality, diversity and inclusion officer in Salisbury, another one in Wolverhampton, another one in Gloucestershire, and another one in South Yorkshire. Now, the salaries for these jobs vary. Sometimes, previously, we've seen these go up to 6 figures. Right? They're enormous salaries. Yeah. At the moment, this one is about 60,000, but they're still going on, despite even what you've seen in that clip there from the Health Secretary almost 2 years ago. They cannot fix this, and it's been going on for years.
Right. Thank you, Adam, very much indeed. And yes, you'll hear it again tomorrow. And guess what'll happen? Absolutely nothing.